What's up, TBS crew? It's your boy Steph, back with another reaction. This time we have Nightmare Files, 3 true disturbing horror stories uploaded April 19th, 2019. Now, down in the description will be a link to Nightmare Files channel, a link to this original video so y'all can see it for yourselves without my commentary. Also will be links to all of my social medias. Get at your boy and see the person like that I don't upload to YouTube. Without further ado, let's get into it. I need a different water bottle. It's so low. And it's lukewarm. It's room temperature now. I might have a colder water bottle for the next video I do.
This happened about 2 years ago. I needed a place to live as I just split up with my girlfriend.
It'd be like
I had to move out of her place.
Hell yeah.
My friend Paul told me he knew someone who owned a house and that he was renting it out, and said I could live there until I found my own apartment. His name was Dean. I didn't know the guy very well, if at all.
You fucking up already?
And only met him once, but Paul vouched for him.
Nah.
So I decided to move into the house. I arrived at the house and Dean showed me around. The house was nice enough, lots of space, nice front garden, and it was close to where I work. As I was looking around, I noticed there was a padlock on the hatch to the attic. When I asked him what was up there, he just told me there's nothing important up there.
Leave it alone.
Just some personal belongings.
Leave it
I
alone.
didn't think anything of it at the time.
Good.
As I didn't really know him. He was pretty much a stranger, so I didn't really blame him for keeping his possessions locked away. My first night there, I woke up at around 2 a.m. to use the bathroom. I headed back to my bedroom when I heard a noise coming from the attic. It sounded like something was being dragged across the floor. I thought it was just the wind or the house making noise, as that happens sometimes.
No.
The next night, I heard the same noise coming from the attic again.
You need to move out.
This time waking me up. I sat up and concentrated on the noise. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure out what it was. I thought maybe it was rats or something. There wasn't much I could do anyway,
Rats.
as the attic was locked shut. The next day I decided to text Dean and ask him about what could be making the noises in the attic. He just said, oh, it's nothing. Probably just a bird that got in there or something.
What?
For every night for the next week, I could hear the same noises coming from the attic. And it woke me up more times than not. One night, I had enough. I got some bolt cutters, and I cut the padlock off, and I pulled the ladder down and headed up there. When I was there looking in the attic, it was dark. Like really dark.
You're gonna regret this. You're gonna get got.
I had to go back down and get a candle.
It'd be like that.
I didn't have a flashlight yet, and my phone was an old BlackBerry that didn't have a light on it.
I bet.
I shunned the candlelight around. As I got into the attic, I couldn't really see much. Mostly boxes and a few sports equipment. As I was searching around, I tripped over some boxes, knocking them on the floor, and some photos fell out. I set my candle down to pick them up. As I was putting them back, I looked closely at one of them. It was a woman tied up with a pig mask on her face. I thought this was a bit weird, but some people aren't into that type of thing. I looked through some more. It was the same thing, just women tied up and pig masks on their faces. And then I came across another one. This time, someone was next to the woman, and it was Dean. The woman looked to be in a lot of pain, and she was crying and looked like she was screaming while Dean looked at it. I don't know, he just looked like he was laughing while...
Okay, so the way that this story is going, because I've never heard this story, but I've heard stories with a similar setting. There's a part of the household that is blocked off that outsiders shouldn't go into. I feel like, okay, one of two things is going to happen. Either this Dean person is going to come back home and catch you up there in the attic, fucking around, putting your nose where it doesn't belong, and he's going to try to get you, or you're going to leave, move out of the house, find somewhere else to stay, and Dean is going to come home and find out that you were in his attic, and he's still going to try to come and get you. So, It's a lose-lose situation, honestly. Yeah, you were fucking up from the beginning.
holding a knife right up to her face. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and my heart started racing as I scrambled through the photos looking at more and more of these women being tortured by Dean.
You gonna get caught.
I felt sick to my stomach and wanted to throw up. I was about to head down, and I was going to call the police when I heard a noise across on the other side of the attic. The same noise that's been waking me up every single night. I slowly wandered over to where the noise was coming from. There was a blanket. It was covering something up, and I pulled the blanket back and I jumped out of my skin and fell down to the ground in shock. There was a woman gagged and chained to the floor. She had bruises on her body and a black eye. I quickly ungagged her and got the bolt cutters, and I set her free. She was very weak and couldn't really talk. She was dehydrated and hungry. I quickly called the police and the ambulance right away. I told the police everything, and they soon found Dean and arrested him at this house. The woman I found was actually reported missing about 6 weeks ago. Dean was sentenced and charged with kidnapping, torture, false imprisonment, and other things.
Good.
Thankfully, the woman made a full recovery. Physically, at least.
Right. That almost got me. That story didn't end how I thought it was, but that almost got me.
The summer between my freshman year and sophomore years of high school, a friend of mine and his family moved in with his grandma. They were buying a house that ended up having to have some work done on it. So his grandma invited them to live with her while they waited for the house to get finished. She had a beautiful big house. It was just her and my friend's cousin that lived there. So there was plenty of room. My friend's cousin was 2 years older than me and was going into her senior year of high school. The house's living room had a vaulted ceiling with floor-to-ceiling windows on all sides. It looked amazing, but gave you no real privacy. It wasn't a big deal though, because the house sat about 500 feet off the road and had wood surrounding it on all sides.
Of course.
Shortly after my buddy and his family moved in, I went over on a Saturday to spend the night. My buddy's room was small, so we decided to sleep on the 2 couches in the living room. Just as we were getting ready to go to sleep, about 1 a.m., we see someone walk past the window outside. We freak out, and we get his dad. About 100 feet away in a tree line, you can see a small red light as 2 people pass a cigarette back and forth. They're just standing there watching the house. His dad calls the police and then opens the front door and yells to the 2 guys to take off. The police find nothing over there. The woods are full of little game trails, so there's no telling where these guys went. The interesting thing is, there's only 3 houses within about a mile of this house, and none of them have older kids. One has very small children, and the other 2 have no kids. So we have no idea where the people came from. A few weeks later, another friend and I both spent the night there. The 3 of us walk into the living room at around 10 p.m. to watch a movie, and there's a guy standing looking in the window. We freak out, and he runs off. Again, we can see the lights of the cigarettes in the distance. Over the course of that summer, there were multiple encounters with the so-called watchers. There were 3 places they would come and stand, and we never could forecast if they would come or where they would go. They would knock on the windows. Once they shook the front door so hard it set off the burglar alarm. At times, we would just see them in the tree line watching the house. Once they took lipstick and wrote hello on the window. During the day, we combed the woods trying to find them, but never could. We thought it was likely guys from our school trying to catch a glimpse of my buddy's cousin. But it would have been one hell of an effort just to maybe catch a glimpse. We never found out who it was. Eventually, the house my buddy's family was buying was fixed, and they moved.
Good.
Who the watchers were, and what they wanted, is still a mystery. Luckily, I won't be going back over there.
Hopefully. Why would you call the police and then go outside and tell the intruders to leave? Really?
There was a time my parents went on a trip to Europe. was taking care of their house. I was home for the summer from school anyway, so it was fine. I had been there for a few weeks and it was pretty quiet. I just went to work, came home, had some time with my friend, enjoying the house to ourselves and whatnot. But one night, I was just laying there watching TV when I heard this really weird, low whistling sound coming from the window that was behind the couch. It struck me as sort of odd, and I just shrugged it off. But then it happened again. It totally sounded like it was a person standing up against the window whistling. I looked out the window and obviously there was no one there, so I figured I should go check it out. If it was something like the wind on the siding, I should probably fix it because that would get annoying. So I walked out into the backyard. The backyard in my parents' house is really, really pretty. It's sparse, but sort of forest that leads to a road on the other side. So I looked at the house and didn't see anything. But then I heard the sound again. It was coming from the woods in the back. I was pretty creeped out at this point, and of course I couldn't see anything in the woods. So I hurried back through the door and I locked it behind me. I never really heard that sound again for the next few days. Until one night, I was asleep in my room, and I could have sworn I was awakened by the whistling sound against my second floor window. I listened hard, and it was dead silent. So I decided I should go ahead and look out the window. I did that whole thing where I crept super slowly towards it and just sort of peeked through it. Outside my window, there was a man just standing there. I was really sleepy, so I can't know how much of this I'm misremembering. But he was just sitting there staring at me. I was completely frozen, and slowly, the man pursed his lips, and I could hear that whistle again. It was crystal clear. It made me feel like crying. I tore myself away from the window and I hid under my covers. The next night, I insisted that my friend stay with me. He did, and of course, nothing happened.
Right.
He figured that I was just tired and delirious, and maybe I was right.
No.
It gets kind of anticlimactic here, but I didn't hear it for another week or so. And when I did, it was just one small whistle, just happening randomly, coming from a wall or something like that. It just happens every week or so, and it always freaks me out tremendously. To this day, I would never stay in that house alone anymore.
It sounds like you've come to accept it. Negative on that. Nah, I ain't accepting shit. Yeah, it sounds like you've come to accept the this whistling guy. Nah, I ain't accepting shit when you on my property. The second one though, you guys have these people constantly coming to your house at night, damn near every day, and looking into your windows and writing on your windows and shit, like trespassing like a motherfucker. And it don't sound like y'all do shit. Those last two stories, it didn't sound like they was taking anything serious. It sounded like they were playing around with their lives. And I don't condone that bullshit. So, the first time y'all saw these people, your father, I think, called the police. Well, y'all called the police. And then you go outside and tell the intruders that they better go. Or else. Fucking really? No, bro. If you're trespassing on my property, if you're like outside my property, I'm calling the police. I'm gonna have my strap ready, but I'm not gonna say anything to you because if I say something to you, that's why the police didn't catch him because y'all told them to leave or else. Like y'all probably didn't even tell them that y'all called the police. Y'all alluded to the fact that y'all called them. You called the police, you get your family to a safe place, and you wait it out. You don't make contact with the intruders and basically warn them that if they continue to loiter on the premises, they will be arrested and taken to jail. Really? You basically saved their asses. Come on, bruh. What did you guys think of the story? What did you think of my reaction? Leave all your feedback down in the comment section below. Thank you so much, guys, for watching my video. If you enjoyed my reaction, leave a like, a comment, and share the video. And if you really liked it, subscribe to the channel and tap that bell icon so you will get notified every time your boy Steph drop new content, which I do 7 times a week. That is all I have for y'all this time around. Your boy Steph is out.